Good evening. May I please request all of our panelists to kindly turn on their cameras to get this webinar started? Yes, I can see Dr. Pushpa on my screen and Dr. Samadeep as well. Thank you very much for turning on your camera. So with that being said, good evening once again to one and all present here and welcome to you all. And thank you very much for joining us today for today's webinar on data-driven economics, a new era presented by Shiv Nadar University in collaboration with the Hindu Education Plus Career Counseling Series. My name is Hiba and I'm delighted to be the moderator for this wonderful session today. So in this session, we will explore how data is driving economic research, policy making, and industry strategies. We have experts from both academia and practice, so get ready for a thought-provoking discussion on the power of data in shaping the future of economics. I'm honored to have with us two wonderful speakers. So firstly, we have Dr. Pushpa Trivedi here with us. She's a senior professor and head economics department, School of Science and Humanities, Shiv Nadar University, Chennai. Speak a little bit about her. She's a senior economist with over 47 years of experience in teaching and research, including 30 years at IIT Bombay. Her work spans open economy macroeconomics, along with international finance, productivity, the Indian economy, and environmental economics as well. She's guided 35 PhD scholars, published widely, and conducted research for the RBI and the government of Karnataka as well. And she's also been the recipient of several academic awards. Thank you very much, ma'am, for joining us here today. It's awesome to have you here with us. We also have Dr. Soumya Roy, the Vice President and Head of Academic Strategy, UNext Manipal Academy of BFSI in Bengaluru. He's an economist with rich experience in both academia and the BFSI sector. He has served as an associate professor and associate dean at OP Jindal Global University and held leadership roles in fraud risk at Citibank and Discover Financial Services in the US. He holds a PhD in economics and has previously worked with Genpact as a business analyst. Currently at the Manipal Academy of BFSI, he designs industry-aligned academic programs to equip students for the evolving financial sector. So these are our two lovely panelists who are here with us today. So I want to begin the discussions and open the floor to Dr. Pushpa Trivedi, ma'am, to share some insights along with SNU's role in the entire data-driven sector. So over to you, ma'am. The floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Hiba. And it's my pleasure to be at this webinar. Let me share my slides. Okay. No, one sec. Okay. Yeah. Are you able to see my slide?
Not yet, ma'am. It's not visible.
Just are you able to see my slide?
No, ma'am. I still cannot have it.
Yes.
So while ma'am tries to figure out the screen sharing, we have a Q&A box. So in case any of the audience has any questions for both of our panelists, you can put them up in the Q&A box, and towards the end, we will have our speakers answer them for you. So you can make use of this chance and put up your questions in the Q&A box that is below. And we will have our panelists answer them for you. And for now, over to Dr. Pushpa.
Just give a moment. Share screen. Sorry, it's not. It's not opening. Okay.
Now, if the presentation is not working, you can go without the presentation as well. You can
Yeah.
just
Okay. Just give me 1 second if I'm able to see the. Why it showed me in the. Anyway, I will start with my presentation. Okay. I hope I can share. It would be a pity if I'm not able to share the screen. Can I just log out and log in a minute?
yeah, sure, ma'am. But if you want, you can do it without presentation as well. If you want to just
Because I would like my presentation to be shown.
okay, ma'am. Yeah, you can log on and log out. Yeah.
Okay, just give me 1 minute.
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Um, Otherwise, I will go. What I will do, I will email the presentation to Priya,
Sure, ma'am.
and somebody can, uh,
Share it across. Yeah.
yeah. The tab is just not working.
Yes, ma'am. So if you can like share it to any of us, we can try.
Yeah. The any.
Yeah, so I already see a lot of questions in the Q&A box from all the students. So in case any of you have any more questions as well, you can add them up there. And I think after the half an hour mark, we will have all of your questions answered. So spam up the box and we will have all your queries answered.
No, I have sent the PPT to you,
Okay,
to Priya.
okay, ma'am. Yeah, we will get
Huh?
that shared.
Yeah. So I will start with my
Yes.
this thing. So greetings to all of you, the parents and the students of this particular webinar. Let me say that nowadays the students are faced with too much of career choices, and this session is particularly specific data driven economics, and it's titled as a new era. First of all, I would like to say that why should one choose economics? Because economics is the science of decision making, whether it is for individuals, households, firms, government, or any other entity who has some objective, who has some preference for something, and in order to satisfy that objective, resources are needed, but resources are limited, and there is constraint on resources, and therefore we need to tie the two ends, objectives with constraints, and therefore economics is needed. Okay, why economics has is to be chosen as a career? Because many decisions are to be taken, and especially by firms and by governments, there are a lot of job opportunities in this particular domain. Now, second question arises, why should we integrate it with data science? It is because the decision making should be rooted in data or empirical evidence. Without, if you make a statement without any empirical evidence or without any data, it may not be taken very seriously. And obviously, all theories have to be substantiated by data. There is a data explosion at present, and I'll come to why this is so. Uh, Now, what we used to understand by data is mainly numbers. But in the modern world, data doesn't consist only of numbers. It consists of numbers, of course. It also consists of text. It also consists of visuals. it also consists of audio. So we have various forms of data from which the analysis needs to be done. And why, what are the applications of various forms of these data? Because analysis of numbers has been quite, prevalent in the earlier times. However, now with generative AI and deep learning and machine learning, etc., now the textual data is also analyzed. For example, how many times a particular let us say speaker used the word, let us say at present, let us say if the war is going on, or if any particular event is going on, then in that event how many times the speaker has said a particular word, and that needs to be analyzed, what is the focus, etc. So all visual data in recognizing the culprits, etc. Visual data can be useful. Audio data also is useful in various forms, and therefore data is stored in various forms. This data needs to be, cleaned in several ways, and there is huge volumes of unstructured data that needs to be cleaned. Okay, it needs to be organized, it needs to be structured, and it needs to be interpreted for effective use. And in order to do that, we need some knowledge of theory, we need some knowledge of societal issues, and it is essential to have some knowledge of, developmental issues or economic issues, etc., in order to derive meaningful and useful conclusions from the collected data. Now, in earlier years or in earlier times, yeah, we used to get, uh, you know, economists who would use all the basically the numbers or data. Next slide, please. Who would use the numbers. For example, you would have, what is the trade, what is the composition of trade, what is inflation rate, how prices are rising or falling, etc. But now, if let us say, if you have any report, for example, before the budget, if the economic survey has to be presented, then it will not have only numbers, it will also have text, it will also have visual or graphics, it will also have so many other components. And that is why we need resources who will, or we need human resources who will be adapt with not only knowledge of data, but also knowledge of economic issues. And therefore, there is a high demand for skilled human resources who have domain knowledge in economics, quantitative skills, data science, finance development, etc. And what we have tried to do in our university for BSc economics data science course is to provide some socially relevant education, mainly as a foundation to prepare young minds to address the real life issues. Next, please. Yeah. In fact, as I said, this is only the foundation that we are laying. And in fact, there is much more prospect for further learning. And this is something which I culled out from Finance and Development, which is published by uh, International Monetary Fund. And it says AI is not, of course, a new concept in economics and finance. Traditional AI, which is advanced analytics, machine learning, predictive deep learning, etc., has been crunching numbers, gauging market trends, and customizing financial products for a long time. Okay, so this is what basically we are teaching in our undergraduate course. But the what is the scope for further knowledge is that generative AI, apart from its ability to delve deeper and interpret complex data in a more creative manner by dissecting intricate relationship between economic indicators or financial variable, it spits out not just forecasts but alternative scenarios, insightful charts, and even snippets of code that could significantly change how sector operates. Now, in yesteryears, next please. In yesteryears, in yesteryears, we used to have, there are two methodologies actually. First you have a theory, and then you analyze, you have data, and then based on your theory, you try to test some hypothesis and arrive at conclusion. But with the explosion of data, also it is possible that the theory emerges out of the data itself, that there's so much of data that with data science tools you can find the most important relationships and various other kinds of inferences, and that can be that can make you think whether there are alternative ways of thinking, because a theory will give you only one set of ideas, but the data may say something else, and it is a very good kind of approach to see what the data is saying and what the theory is saying. And therefore, we need data science, as a component of education along with economics. This is just a snippet out of, the pre-budget economic survey, and almost half of the survey is either full of numbers or analysis charts, etc. And therefore, in various government departments like Ministry of Finance, this is one example where data and theory are mixed in, in this particular manner. Next slide, please. And this is something which I called out from RBI's Monetary Policy Committee. And here also you see that you have charts with various bands. And it is, let me tell you that a projection of CPI or consumer price inflation depends on, surveys, which are huge surveys of consumer confidence and consumer expenditure, etc. So what you get is one slide out of, let us say, 6 months of surveys, which may be put into one slide. So what goes behind it is a very a detailed exercise in in these analysis. Next, please. Okay. Now, basically, what I wanted to say is that there is a complementarity between economics, data science, maths, stats, programming, and applications. And then real life issues come from domain of development economics or finance or law, etc. And also you require some communication skills. Also you require some, sensitivity to environment, which is must. And therefore, understanding these complementarities, we have tried to devise a program, 3-year program, which is titled as BSc in Economics with Data Science. Next, please. Next, please. Next one. Okay. So what do we, no, previous one. So what do we teach in these courses? What are these various courses? Standard microeconomics, macroeconomics, development economics, Indian economy, international economy, public economics and policy. These are very, very core basics of economics courses. Then we have also coupled it with, professional or coding and programming courses like Excel, SQL, R, and Python programming. We have core courses in data science, which is Introduction to Data Science, Introduction to Artificial Intelligence, Machine Learning, Data Visualization. And then we have various courses on mathematics, statistics, econometrics, etc. So it's a complete, we have tried to extract all, complementarities and put them in one basket and present it students who would opt for this particular program. Next one. Next one. So, okay. Um, Previous one, just show me previous one. Yeah. We have, a bunch of electives also apart from core. And these are what you can see on the screen are the electives in economics, core economics, then development economics, finance, data science, etc. So apart from basics, we also have, various electives, and students can choose from these electives. Next one. Next one. Not the next one. Yeah. Now, what are our, no, previous one, previous. Yeah. What are our resources? I would like to classify our resources mainly into academic resources and infrastructure resources. In academic resources, we have human resources, and then another, academic resource is in form of books or database or softwares, etc. In human resources, we have mentors and we have faculty. Next one. And our mentors are Dr. Rangarajan, who is well known. I don't have to introduce him, former governor of RBI and also former governor of Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh, and Dr. Raj Reddy, who is also well known in computer science and robotics. And he is he has been at Carnegie Mellon University in USA. So these two are our mentors. Next one. We have Professor D.K. Srivastava, who is at Ernst and Young, India, and his specialization is mainly in public finance, macroeconomics, and public policy. Next one. We have a very distinguished faculty, and you have seen the kind of electives we offer, and it is the faculty at SNUC is sort of versatile in terms of teaching both core courses and elective courses. So this is our department. Next one. Yeah. And not only economics department, but also from other faculty, like faculty from English, faculty from commerce, faculty from maths and stats, and faculty from computer science also pitch in to teach our courses. So this constitutes our human resources, which caters to teaching program of our BSc program. Next. When it comes to campus, it's a lush green, environmental friendly campus. And, many are impressed by the way in which the campus is maintained and it has some calming effect on the students and faculty. Next one. We have good infrastructure facilities, and we have all that is required for a world class institution is there available in SNU Chennai. Next one. In order to enhance the transformational experience of students, we have different events. Next one. We have very vibrant academic and social cultural environment. For example, in the past, we have had a workshop on advanced econometrics. Next one. And our students have participated in national conferences, and these are UG students and have been awarded Best Paper Award. Next one. Our students participated in RBI quiz, and you can see that Shiv Nadar University was one of the first teams to go on the platform. Though ultimately they didn't win, but it was a commendable and effort, and we encourage participation in various national events. Next one. And our students are very participative. We have had poster exhibitions on multiple dimensions of development. Next one. We also conducted a financial literacy program, which was initiative of SEBI and National Stock Exchange. Next one. For holistic development of students, we have various clubs at SNUC. There are about 17 already clubs which exist, and we are launching another club for economics called Arthlok, which will be launched soon. Next one. Yeah. Now, most important is that people are worried about placements, about what to do after, completing UG course here. There are various opportunities opportunities for higher studies, and students can appear for GATE, which enables them to take admission into IITs for post-graduation and get scholarships, etc. They can pursue MBA law. The alternative career could be in civil services, various financial institutions like banking, insurance, stock markets, etc., are alternative career paths. Consulting firms take data analyst in large organization, research analyst, among others. Then there are public sector enterprises, policy making bodies like RBI, Niti Aayog, SEBI, IRDA, etc., which can take our students. Students can also go in for startups. And there are also students who are interested in civil societies or working for civil society or NGO or go into journalism. Next one. Now, I must say that we have had so far only this year we will be having our first batch graduate, and our students have gotten into various universities abroad, and this is a kind of a snapshot of students who have been offered various who have opted for various program and secured admissions to these universities. Next one. Internship is a mandatory part of our program, and our students have gotten very good report from various institutions where they have completed internships. and students are in the process of placement. Some have secured placement and some are in the pipeline, and they have been uh, offered good made they have been made good offers in various companies. Next one. So I think for the time being, I would stop here, and then, yeah, if there is any question answer, I would take it, or Hiba can take it from here. Thank you, Hiba.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pushpa, for giving this webinar a superb start. Thank you very much for that once again. So I'm gonna be dragging Dr. Soumyadeep in the conversation. So our talk is totally about data-driven economics, the new era. So any thoughts from your end on how would you define this to make people understand better? What's your ideology on what is there ahead for data-driven economics in the times to come?
I thank you, Eva, for that, and thank you, Dr. Pushpa, for that wonderful introduction. I will start with saying that data or understanding data is not optional anymore. It is essential. So for somebody to have a career in the field of economics, back in the day, maybe in the 90s or when I started studying the subject, there was still an option of not knowing it, or the luxury of not indulging in data. The way the world is evolving, it is an essential skill. It is no longer optional. So economics, finance, technology, it all merges in nowadays to become, to make a professional essentially. So let me explain what I mean by that. So you have data, right? So in today's day and age, there is a large amount of data. There is a large amount of unstructured data. Most of this data is completely unstructured. So the first thing that you have to do is essentially you have to clean the data, right? So you have to make it structured from unstructured, right? So you have to put it in a format, in an Excel spreadsheet or something, or in some kind of software. That data cleaning itself requires skills. It requires your knowledge of tools. It requires knowledge of statistics. That is where a person would spend most amount of their time, just cleaning the data. After you clean the data, you've put it in a structured format, you try to understand the data. You try to draw insights from that data, right? So what is the data telling you? And that is something where you need to have some understanding of economics, of the macroeconomy, of finance, some domain expertise essentially, right? And once you've understood that data, what people in corporate firms do for decision making is they build a model. So that's called modeling. So first is you clean the data, then you understand the data, then you put it in a model. So these are models which are statistical models or econometric models, where we use certain statistical tools to create a model for decision making. So let me give you an example. So let's say, for example, a person goes to a bank and they apply for a loan. So let's say you apply for a home loan, which is usually a very large amount of money, right? So the bank is now deciding whether to give this person a loan, whether to reject, or if you accept that you're going to give the loan, what kind of interest rate would you give for that particular person, right? So this is a decision that the bank or any financial institution does on a regular basis. Now, how will the bank make that decision? The bank is going to go and look at the transaction history of this person. They are going to create a profile of this person, and based on that, they are going to try to guess whether this person is worthy of this loan and whether they'll be able to pay back the loan. If they're a risky customer, if the bank thinks that, oh, maybe the person's current income is not sufficient for them to pay this large loan, they'll charge a higher interest rate, right? So that interest rate is a reflection of the risk associated with the loan. Now, the question is, and I was looking at the questions which have already come in. With the advent of AI, with the advent of these tools at our disposal, which were not there even when I started studying economics, how is the world going to change? How are jobs going to change? This is the question that everybody is grasping with right now. So if you do some reading on this, uh, what I would say is that the routine tasks, the things that are relatively monotonic, they will be done by AI, right? So essentially, a lot of accounting tasks, a lot of tabulation tasks, the mundane tasks, right? So that the software will do, and it will do very quickly. It will do very, very effectively. However, what a firm or a company would look at is a person who can look at this data, understand this data, have domain knowledge, and also have some kind of critical thinking ability which will help them in decision making, right? So if you read the recent commentary on AI and how it's going to affect jobs, particularly in the BFSI sector, uh, it's this combination of various things which requires an individual, which requires a human being, right? So it is possible that AI becomes so advanced that at some point it's able to do all of this. I mean, that will take a few years. We're not there yet. But what curriculum an ideal curriculum and an ideal graduate should have, they should have the technical skills, they should have the domain expertise, and third, and last but not the least, they should really have communication skills, right? So things like empathy or understanding another person, or simply getting the cues in a conversation. These are things that AI will not be able to do, right? So the softer aspects, attention to detail, critical thinking, problem solving. I'll give you an example of my own career. This is the other question that I was seeing. What kind of career can you expect after economics? My own career is a very good example in this, and I think Dr. Pushpa was also alluding to this. I finished my undergraduate degree, and then I went to JNU and did a master's in economics, right? So after my master's in economics, I worked as a risk analyst in a company called Genpact in Bangalore, and I was doing risk management. So how did I go from economics to risk management? Because I had a fairly good understanding of statistics, of modeling, and this example that I was giving you of whether to give a loan or not, that kind of modeling, right? What is the risk, at what rate to give? A slightly more sophisticated version of that is what I was doing there. Then I decided to do a PhD. So I went to the US and I did a PhD in economics, and there was rigorous coursework that I have to do, microeconomics, macroeconomics, econometrics, finance, statistics. And I would like to say this to all the participants and maybe also to some of the parents that, economics and statistics, they go hand in hand, right? So economics is where the theory is. Statistics and econometrics is the application of these statistical tools in economics. Essentially, that's what it is. Econometrics is the application of statistics in economics, right? And these are the models that are used very heavily by corporate firms, by banks, by other financial institutions to make decisions. It's also used by many other companies, not just financial institutions. It's also used in manufacturing and retail. It would be even used in Netflix. So let's say, for example, the amount of time somebody is spending on hovering around a particular TV show or a movie in their laptop, that data is also captured by Netflix. So if let's say you are there's a Shah Rukh Khan movie and you're spending more time there, then the app is so smart to figure out that you're somewhat interested, and obviously if you click on it, that means you actually like it, right? So the level of data that is collected by some of these companies at this point are incredibly detailed, and they help the companies profile each customer and then give them customized products according to their needs. So this is a short answer or a fairly long answer to the question that you asked. The skills are going to evolve over time, and we are actually sitting in a very, very interesting time where I think the the scope for a person who studies economics is vast. They can go into corporate jobs, they can go into policy making, they can go into government jobs, or they can go into research. And I think economics is probably the only subject which offers this vast, diverse set of opportunities. And I am always biased in favor of economics because I myself have studied it for so many years. I don't think any other discipline provides this level of scope or opportunities uh, as does economics.
Yes, absolutely. It's a great start for the question that I had asked. So what I'm going to be doing right now is, based on the questions that are up here, we're going to make them into a discussion base. So we'll make sure we have their questions answered as well, and we also get our content as well. So while I was scrolling through the chats when you were speaking, I noticed a keyword, policy making, that was repeated multiple times when people asked questions out here. So your thoughts on policy making in the current generation, and what kind of opportunities exist between economics, data science, and policy making altogether. So your thoughts on that, sir?
So, see, policy is essentially application of economic theory into real world problems, right? So let's say you want to create a policy on female labor force participation. So in India, India is a very peculiar country in that sense. So more and more women are getting educated. But if you study labor economics, it would say that should increase female labor force participation. In India, a very perplexing thing is happening, a very confusing thing is happening, that despite growing levels of female education, the participation levels are either the same, or in some industries is actually going down. So let's say you want to create a policy to boost up female labor force participation. So what do? So you want to first understand the problem. For that, you need to look at the data. You need to look at NSS data, employment data, PLFS data, and then essentially create a policy on it. So these policy making kind of roles could be in government. Obviously, the government creates a lot of policies. It could also be in think tanks. So there are various think tanks which exist, both domestic and international think tanks. Many of them in New Delhi, in that area. And also, you could create policy for corporate firms as well. So essentially, policy making, the scope of it, again, if I may, I mean, without, at the risk of sounding repetitive, it's quite vast. And a person requires understanding of economic theory. A person requires understanding of the market that they're studying, whether it's a labor market or financial market or some other market. That's the domain expertise that they need. And they need the ability to think creatively, right? So essentially, whatever has happened so far has to some extent not worked. That's why we are in this situation where there's a problem, and how do I solve that problem, right? So what decisions do I take to solve that problem, right? So that's essentially what policy making is.
Thank you very much, sir, for your thoughts on that. I'm going to drag Dr. Pushpa in the conversation, because I see a lot of questions about, career choices and what's next, what's the scope for career. So, being in your field of, a teaching and being a professor, what is your opinion on the kinds of career choices that is there after a person finishes studying economics? Your thoughts on that, ma'am? And ma'am, you're on mute.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Hiba. Let's see, career choices after economics are vast. Okay, let me tell you, there are examples where, engineers have turned into economists. If you see, Dr. Raghuram Rajan, an engineer turned economist. Dr. Viralacharya, who was deputy governor of RBI, and an engineer turned economist. Many of IITians who have done engineering have switched to economics, and they are making it big because the foundations of math, stats, etc., analytical skills are of great help if if you want to study economics. So I think the scope for career choices, I mean, people would choose economics obviously because of career prospects are better. And in fact, in many institutions, engineering institutions of high repute, students are preferring economics courses over engineering courses, because economics does has wider applications in terms of applications to real life issues. Okay. Even I would compliment Dr. Roy, policy making, because nowadays there is so much of need. Every program needs to be evaluated. Let us say poverty or poverty alleviation program. The government is giving money. To what extent poverty is being reduced? Okay. Issues of tariffs. If tariffs are increased, what will happen to trade? So these are issues, and these issues have to be analyzed with the help of data. And therefore, not only governments, but also corporate sector needs it a lot. As Dr. Roy was mentioning, that there is explosion of data, and we are not even aware of what data is being stored about us in different platforms. The moment we click, there is data generation and there is data storage. For example, if I buy something in Amazon, and maybe for 3-4 months continuously, then they would know what are my preferences, and immediately the suggestions prop up. So unlike yesteryears, when we had to go and collect the primary data, it was an intrusive way, and people didn't like to share the information. But today, people are not even aware of what information they are, parting with the companies to which they are, from where they are buying. So I think the data generation is tremendous, and it is not intrusive. A lot of data is uncleaned. It seems that about 80% of data is unstructured, and about 20% of data is structured, which is analyzed. So all that creates opportunities at various levels. And if there can be jobs where you can just clean the data. Okay, there will be jobs where you get clean data, and then you apply your critical thinking, you apply your insights, and then come up with policy decisions. So at various levels, the job creations, and in my slide, I did show what are the various options. But I would also like to say that if you opt for this UG program, I think you can even go to a higher level, and there is something called in higher returns. As you increase your knowledge, the returns to higher education will be much more. Okay, so I would very much recommend that start with UG, but don't stop there. If you can afford to go for higher levels of education, specialize yourself, and then enter the job market. But if you are in a need of job, there is no dearth of jobs. Okay, yeah.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your thoughts on the career options. Like you had mentioned, the scope is extremely vast, and your answer did justice to it. So thank you very much for sharing your thoughts on that. Going back to Dr. Roy, once again, I see some questions that I think you would perfectly give us the answer for it. So we have people here asking on what could be some real world examples where data has fundamentally changed how banks operate today, and how can students build the competencies to pace with this? So your thoughts on that
Sure,
question.
sure. So there are very many examples. So there are some situations where this is used and it affects our daily lives and we don't even know. So I'll give you an example. So let's say I have my my salary account with, let's say, ICICI Bank, right? And I transact on it regularly, and my money comes in, comes out, whatever, right? And suddenly I decide to buy something of a large amount, right? Like a 1 lakh rupee or whatever, 1,20,000, and I make a transaction. And then suddenly a phone call comes to me or a message comes to me asking me to confirm whether I made that transaction or not, right? So I'm sure everybody's gone through this experience. So the question is, why is the bank sending us that? They don't message me every time I buy something from the shop or from Amazon or wherever. So the bank has noticed that this particular transaction is outside my typical transaction value, right? If I was somebody, so let's say if I was Mukesh Ambani or somebody like that who regularly makes 1 lakh rupee transactions, that message would not come, right? Because for him, it would be normal. Uh, so this is an example where a bank has used, data analytics or my transaction history to profile me as a customer. And for me, at my level of income, they think that this particular transaction stands out. So there are many, many such examples in the real world. I gave you the example of Netflix before, right? So Netflix or YouTube or any of these apps, they are constantly monitoring our behavior, and my behavior would be different to your behavior, would be different to Dr. Pushpa's behavior, and they would have created behavioral profiles for all of us which they have in their backend, right? So Amazon would do it, Netflix would do it, Flipkart would do it, even YouTube does it, and on the basis of that they are giving you recommendations. Now why are they giving you those recommendations? Because they know that your likelihood of seeing that content is much higher than mine or Dr. Pushpa's, right? So this kind of profiling or this kind of behavior based creation of an identity almost digitally is something that all companies already do, and it helps them take better decisions. If I like Shah Rukh Khan, and if they show me more movies of Shah Rukh Khan, then I'm more likely to. And let's say you hate, then they will not show those to you. So that those are very simple examples, and there are many more sophisticated examples. So let's say I used to work in the US for Citibank in the fraud division, right? So in fraud, we used to have these rules or these strategies to prevent fraudulent transactions. So any transaction which we see is suspicious, we would flag it. So let's say you normally transact in Chennai, and suddenly you are in I don't know, if you are in somewhere in abroad or somewhere in the Northeast or in Calcutta, right? So you're normally not there. So particularly in the US, it's a very large country. It would immediately pop up on our system, and we had rules based on our strategies based on this to identify the likelihood of this being a fraud, like somebody stolen your credit card and they are transacting it in a different city, or you yourself are doing it. And you can't block all of these transactions because it could be the genuine customer doing it themselves, right? So there are umpteen examples of data driven decision making that is already happening around us, and I'm almost scared to even think where it will go when the capabilities of AI are going to be more powerful. The sky is the limit there.
Yes, absolutely, sir. So, you spoke about the sky being the limit. I'm going to go back to a question that, is somewhere right below that. So, we have a question that says, for students from Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, how accessible are career pathways in data-driven BFSI roles, and what kind of foundational skills matter more than fancy degrees? So, your thoughts on that, sir? Yeah.
So the skills, I mean, the degrees are very useful, but the skills that are mostly required are the skills of data analysis, understanding data. So right, so we have all this data at our disposal. I mean, if you just Google, you can download so many free data sets. It's all available to us. But to make sense out of the data, that's a skill, right? So how you take a spreadsheet, let's say for example a simple spreadsheet of 100 rows and let's say 5 columns, you have a small data set, right? So how do you, there are many different ways of breaking that data, and then creating pivot tables, creating charts. So one thing is to analyze the data, then is visualizing the data. So you can create graphs. In economics, we have a lot of graphs, all kinds of graphs, right? and then the modeling. So these are skills that anybody can learn it. I mean, tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities, anybody can learn these skills on their own in the age of YouTube and all these, open resources out there. If somebody is really interested in how to crunch data, how to understand data, that is a skill that I think will never go out of whack. It will always be in demand. And then obviously, problem solving. So let's say, people who really like solving puzzles, or people who really like solving riddles, or that kind of thing, right? So that's a skill that is required in almost every job, right? So I mean, at my level and Dr. Pushpa's level, we are constantly, essentially solving problems, right? So problem solving, or critical thinking, these are skills that anybody can pick up from anywhere in the country.
Yes, complete justice to the question. So thank you very much for your thoughts on that. I think we'll take our last two questions because we're running out of time. So going back to Dr. Pushpa once again, I see many questions from students about just one keyword, that is maths and mathematical solutions in numbers. So they're asking if can they handle the level of mathematical equations that will be in economical courses, and how are the courses back there in SNU, and will they cater to those who are a little weak in maths?
Yeah. If you have taken maths up to 10 standard, which I suppose everybody has maths up to 10 standard, and if you have no, if you don't have aversion to maths, okay, then you can do very well. Okay, but if you have aversion to maths, then this course is not meant for you. As simple as that. And my honest opinion, that if you don't have aversion, and if you have done well in maths at 10th standard level, it doesn't matter if you have not done maths in your 12th standard. We start with very basics, and we also help students who have not had maths in their 12th standard. So, we have very basic this thing, and there are special help sessions to, in our timetable, where non-math students or even non-economic students, there are some students who from science background who take this course and do very well. And also there are some students who are non-math students who also do very well. But they have, they have to undergo help sessions. And, there's no problem. In fact, some of our non-math students are doing better than our students who have done maths, because these students take additional efforts, and people who have done maths, they think that they already know. So there is this thing. So there is no problem at that end. Only thing is that they should not have aversion to learning maths.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you very much for your answer to that question. We'll take our last question, which is a very, optimistic question. So I would like both of your thoughts on this question. So, students want to know one key takeaway or one piece of advice that you would want to give them to help them make a meaningful impact in the world of data-driven economics. So what is that one power thing that if you do this, you're going to be great? So any thoughts on that? So we'll start off with Dr. Roy first and then close with Dr. Pushpa. So any key advice, sir?
So I was actually thinking on those lines. So I was listening to Mr. Ruchis Sharma's interview a few days back, and he was saying that at the age of 18, Economic Times had approached him to write a column, which is remarkable, like a regular column, weekly column. And the interviewer asked him that, how did you have this kind of, how did you manage to do this? And he said that on my own, I used to read about finance and economics because I was just interested in it. That's it. So because I was interested, I had so much knowledge about it. The newspaper and the editor actually had no idea that they were talking to an 18-year-old. They thought they were talking to somebody, in their 30s or 40s. So what I would like to say is that if you are really interested in something, then just go into it. And that knowledge, or that, the wisdom that you'll gain out of it. So I am deeply interested in football, say, for example. Now, that has got nothing to do with my job, but I am so deeply interested in it that somehow that sparks something in the head which is useful in my life. So don't be shy to go very deep into something, even if seemingly it's not very beneficial in your career, is something that I have learned. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's
Absolutely. So yes, passion is all that is needed, and then you answered complete justice to it. Dr. Pushpa, any closing thoughts from you and any
Yeah,
advice?
I think the Dr. Roy has already said reading is something which which is very very essential, and very often when I ask interview students and ask them whether you read newspapers, so they will say on and off. Okay, and very often it is not it is once in a while. So my first thing is that they should be interested in what is happening around them. If you are doing economics, you have to be interested in what is happening around you. And second is perseverance. Okay, we cannot even in age of artificial intelligence, this that etc., it is essential to soil your hands with the data. Okay, you must know what it is not only that artificial intelligence will generate something for you and you take it with pinch of salt. No, because ultimately artificial intelligence will gather from whatever is stored, and not only correct things are stored in in various websites. So you have to have discretion of what sounds okay and what doesn't sound okay. Okay, so still there is a role for human beings for critical thinking, etc. And for that, I think your willingness to work hard, perseverance, along with your reading, those things are necessary. Yeah.
Yes. So these were the mantras from our two successful people out here giving us the thoughts. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you
One more
so
thing
much.
to those who haven't got their questions answered. I think we had around 80 questions that are there. We took out, I think, about 10 questions. To those 70 people who haven't got your questions answered, don't worry about that. We will have all of your questions answered via email. So it's all going to be chill once it's all done. So with that being said, we come to the end of the webinar on Data-Driven Economics, a New Era, presented by Shiv Nadar University in collaboration with the Hindu Education Plus Career Counseling Series. Thank you so much to both of our panelists for talking to us, taking out time and being here today. And a big thanks to our audience as well for patiently waiting and coming to this webinar to attend it. Thank you very much once again, and have a great day ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Roy.
Thank you, Dr. Bushpa.
And thank you, Hiba.
Thank you,
Nice.
Himra. Thank you.
Thank you.